Hello, this is KYC News. We provide you with the most up-to-date and reliable information for the day. First and foremost, we want to achieve perfect health with a sincere desire. Aung San Suu Kyi of Myanmar was transferred to solitary confinement at a prison. Eight medical professionals will be tried for the death of football legend Diego Maradona. Estonian Prime Minister, don't minimize Russia. Aung San Suu Kyi of Myanmar was transferred to solitary confinement at a prison. Ousted junta spokesperson announced on Thursday that Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi had been transferred from house arrest to solitary confinement in a prison compound in the military-built capital Naypyidaw, June 23. Since Wednesday, Aung San Suu Kyi has been confined in solitary confinement in prison in compliance with criminal legislation, according to a statement from Zamintun. According to sources with knowledge of the situation, Ms. Suu Kyi had been living under house arrest in Naypyidaw since being ousted in a coup last year. She was joined by numerous domestic workers and her dog. The 77-year-old Nobel laureate only left those grounds to attend hearings related to her trial in a junta court where she faces a potential sentence of more than 150 years in prison. Journalists are not permitted to cover Ms. Suu Kyi's trial and her attorneys are not permitted to speak to the media. She endured protracted periods of house detention in her family's mansion in Yangon, Myanmar's main city, under a previous junta regime. She has previously received 11 years in prison after being found guilty of corruption, inciting hatred against the military, infringing COVID-19 guidelines, and violating a telecommunications legislation. The 25th Zanzibar International Film Festival's European Day. The ambassadors of France and Spain, as well as the ambassador of the European Union and the honorary consul of Germany to Zanzibar, will host the European Day at the Zanzibar International Film Festival 2022 on June 24 at 7 p.m. at the Old Fort in Stone Town. In this festival's 25th year, the European Union and its member states that support culture were able to support ZIF not only financially but also by enlisting the aid of experts and technical partners from the continent and the surrounding area. Over the years, the festival has developed into a focal point for the East African area, showcasing the diversity and vibrancy of African storytelling and film. An indication of the festival's significance for the cultural landscape and the film industry is the presence of an increasing number of partnerships and collaborations, not just from the region but also from other continents. In the spirit of Team Europe, the European Union brings experts and resources with the goal of boosting cross-cultural interactions as well as encouraging growth and job creation in the cultural and creative industries. After ZIF, the EU and ZIF Goes Mainland event will promote the screening of EU films in universities throughout various cities in the mainland in October and November 2022. 30 tribal Pakistanis are killed by the earthquake in Afghanistan. According to a media source on Thursday, the strong earthquake that struck a rural, hilly area of eastern Afghanistan claimed the lives of at least 30 tribal members of Pakistan who had been forced to flee during a military operation in 2014 and cross the border. The 6.1 magnitude earthquake that struck Afghanistan on Wednesday claimed the lives of over 1,000 people and left 1,500 more injured, included medical tribe members among its victims in the North Waziristan province. After the Pakistani government briefly opened the Pak-Afghan border at Alwar Mandi, the Dawn Daily stated that the bodies of 30 persons would be sent to their home countries. According to military sources in Miran Shah, plans have also been made at the Ghulam Khan border for the airlift of the injured to specialized medical centers that are being established nearby. According to the story, which cited officials, the ration was being given to the earthquake-affected people in addition to moving the remains and assisting with the treatment of the injured. Separately, the tremor caused a checkpoint in the North Waziristan region of Dadakul to collapse, killing one soldier and injuring at least 2 others. In the Pazu neighborhood of the Laki Marwa district, a local football player perished when the roof of his home fell, burying him under the rubble. Hospital beds have been set up in South Waziristan and North Waziristan for the treatment of the injured, according to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government spokesperson Muhammad Ali Saif. According to the report, officials dispatched aid to the earthquake victims in Afghanistan on the particular instructions of Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. According to Radio Pakistan, 8 trucks with tents, tarps, blankets, and essential medicines have been sent to Kabul. Pakistan has also pledged its entire support to Afghanistan. According to Pakistan's meteorological department, the 6.1 magnitude earthquake's epicenter was in the Paktika region, around 50 kilometers southwest of the city of Khost. With millions of people facing increased starvation and poverty as a result of the Taliban's international funding being cut off, Afghanistan is already grappling with one of the biggest humanitarian crises in history. The earthquake just makes matters worse. 8 medical professionals will be tried for the death of football legend Diego Maradona. A judge ordered on Wednesday that 8 people will be placed on trial by the Argentine judiciary for alleged shortcomings in the care of football great Diego Maradona. According to DW, the medical professionals will be tried for simple homicide with probable intention in connection with the Argentine football legend's passing in November 2020. Prosecutors claim that during his home hospitalization, caretakers omitted to take care of him, which led to his death. Leopold Luque, a neurosurgeon, as well as other medical professionals and nurses who oversaw Maradona's care are among the 8 people under investigation. The football icon was allegedly put in a position of helplessness by the medical staff's poor supervision, according to the prosecution. The defendants could receive prison terms of 8 to 25 years. They were the protagonists of an unprecedented, completely inadequate, and negligent hospitalization at home, according to the prosecution. The trial has not yet been given a date. Maradona was hailed as one of the greatest players in football history, especially for his dexterity with the ball in his hands. Together with Pelé, he shared the FIFA Player of the Century award. A few weeks after having brain surgery, he passed away at the age of 60 in a private home north of Buenos Aires. His passing caused a time of national mourning. Due to a blood clot in his brain, he was originally hospitalized. Due to his concerns with his weight, he endured major health challenges for many years, including repeated heart attacks, hepatitis, and a gastric bypass. For Napoli, Boca Juniors, and Barcelona, Maradona played professional football. Estonian Prime Minister, don't minimize Russia. As the war approaches its 5th month, Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas told the Associated Press that the West shouldn't undervalue Russia's military prowess in Ukraine and that Moscow is in it for the long haul. In an interview published on Wednesday, Kallas argued that Europe should ensure that those responsible for war crimes and attempted genocide are brought to justice, noting that Russian President Vladimir Putin got away with annexing the Crimean Peninsula in 2014 and supporting an insurgency that resulted in the deaths of over 14,000 people in eastern Ukraine's Donbas region even before this year's conflict started. I've heard rumors that, they're no longer a threat because they're worn out. No, they haven't, she remarked in reference to the Russian military, which first failed to capture Kiev and is now focusing its firepower in the east. They still have a large number of troops at their disposal who are ready to battle, they are not keeping track of the deaths lost. The artillery they are losing there is not taken into account. So, despite the low morale and corruption plaguing Moscow's soldiers, I don't think we should underestimate their ability to continue this. Even though it was obvious from the start that it would become more and more difficult over time, Kallas complimented the solidarity that Europe has displayed in punishing Russia for the invasion that started on February 24. We completed the comparatively simple things first. We are now moving on to sanctions that are far more challenging. But so far, despite having differing viewpoints, we have been able to maintain our togetherness, she said during an interview at Stenbock House, a government complex where she also holds cabinet meetings and has an office. This is typical of democracies. We argue and converse before arriving at a conclusion. The fact that we are still unified has so far come as a bad surprise to Putin, Kallas remarked. Despite the early disagreements over it, she expressed optimism that Ukraine will be given candidate status for the European Union at the bloc's upcoming meeting in Brussels. Last Monday, the European Commission, which serves as the EU's executive branch, endorsed Ukraine's bid. According to Kallas, some nations were quite dubious 2 months ago, but as of late, various member states are sending signs that they are on board. In response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Estonia, which borders Russia on a 294-kilometer, 180-mile, border, has adopted a tough posture. Kallas has attacked other European leaders for meeting with Putin and has argued in favor of utter isolation of Moscow, leaving Ukraine to decide how to end the conflict. As the conflict stretched on, some in the West proposed negotiating a peace agreement with Russia, even if it required Ukraine to cede land. Kallas has issued a cautionary tale. She noted in her remarks to the AP that this is precisely what took place when Moscow occupied Crimea, supported the separatists in the industrial Donbas, and seized Georgian territory. For us, it's crucial to avoid repeating the errors we made in the Crimea, Donbas, and Georgia. We've made the same error 3 times already by claiming that a negotiated peace is the end goal. Putin only understands that I can do this because no consequence will follow as a result of this. She said, and every next time, there will be more human suffering than there was before. Crimes against humanity and doing or attempting to conduct genocide should be punished in Ukraine. She asserted that one only needed to exercise strategic patience for the sanctions against Russia to eventually take effect. Kallas justified remarks that the sanctions seem to harm common Russians while up to this point failing to discourage Putin. And she continued, I still believe that, the impacts should be felt by the Russian populace as well because, if you look, the support for Putin is extremely high. According to Kallas, Russian soldiers boast about their war crimes to their wives and to their moms. And if the moms and wives concur, this is also the conflict that Russia and the Russian people are waging in Ukraine, she continued.